live from Music City. I did again. Live from Sacramento, California, capital of the state of California. This is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, keenly awaited, highly anticipated edition of the Trading Floor with your humble hosts, Angie Barbosa, Chris Irwin, Brad Reed, Johnny Guarco, and Jeremy Alexander Newsom with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, live life, and trade it. Had some Dee Sharp and James Brown before the break with the mashed potato. I do love mashed potatoes, by the way. Big mashed potato fan. Mashed potatoes, steak, chicken. I think it would be a hard toss-up if I was on death row, one last meal, the last meal that I could ever have, I think would be a toss-up for sure. But this is definitely one of the top three. A really nice hearty steak, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, butter beans, and a chocolate milkshake. Ugh. That's definitely top three. That'd be it. Like a nice solid steak that no dog eats. It's all to myself. I haven't gotten a chance to tell you guys that yet. Let me tell you a quick story and I'll get into the market. So Super Bowl party. Super Bowl party. We're hanging out and we went to the grocery store and I was grilling some steaks. And there was one steak in particular. It was like really, really nice, gigantic, ginormous steak. It looked like someone had just shot in a cow and just thrown it on the steak thing. And we were watching the game, and I don't know, second quarter, right before halftime, I think Angie was like, "What's that sound?" And she turns and walks around. She's like, "There's a dog eating a steak." And yeah, Dan's dog, who he brought to the party, which is fine. He has a dog. It's okay. He jumped up on the counter and took that steak and was eating it. Like,
just think that the dog is eating the steak. I was stunned.
She was ginormous steak. It was huge, huge, huge steak. Now, I wasn't angry because that was my finisher steak, right? Usually when I eat steak, I have a pregame steak, and then I have a, medium steak in the middle, and then I have like a steak to finish it off. So, 3 steaks. That's my Super Bowl. So the first 2 were going well, and then that was my last one, and it just didn't work out. So there you go. Anyway, good Super Bowl, good game. Yeah, great game, great food, great drinks, great party, great people. I ate a lot of chips. It was good. So let's look at the general market. And I think really at this point, there's not too much to talk about. We, for Weeklies Wednesday, we did go out and we did look at credit spreads and see if there's any premium anywhere safe. And there's really not. There's really not a lot out there. Really what I want to see, and this would be stock market perfection, is if we get a little bit of a rollover from the top trend line and then we bounce. Keep an eye out for this, because if we get this, I think it's time to go bullish and create a plan and mitigate our risk. At the moment, there's no real money for credit spread anywhere that would really want to do it. So I think we're going to wait on spreads on the indices. The Qs, we're already in one. John Higgins is already in a credit spread on SPY, so Higgins, keep me posted on that. We got a beautiful hammer candle, beautiful retest yesterday, and today is the retest. We're continuing a little bit higher. So this bull put spread expiring next week should be just fine. Again, I don't really foresee anything going on, but we are going to run into this trend line. We could get one more wave rotation down, and if we do, and if we bounce, that's kind of my yes. I'm without question bullish on the market. IWM got a little bit of an upper shadow, so I still have my bear call spread. I still got that going on up here, 122, 123. It's getting closer. I agree. It's definitely closer than this one. So we have some resistance right here. And again, I'm not even worried about the spread unless we get a move above that level. And then if we move above that level, then we got the 121. It's going to kind of give a little bit of resistance as well. So my thought process is that we might pull back a little bit and continue to trade sideways, and then maybe come up here and let it expire. I think we're going to be fine with it. If I exit it early, it'll be for a very, very small loss, a very, very small gain, and break even. And I'm totally cool with that. So that's my iron condor for IWM. So kind of keeping an eye on that. And my general market overview is I'm bullish to neutral. I think we get a little bit more of a pullback and then a pop, but I'm ready to go bullish if it happens. Questions, concerns, thoughts, opposing views on the overall market? And Maria did want me to look at and kind of give my thoughts on the solar sector. Mona, a few moments ago, asked me about my oil viewpoints, and I kind of shared those with everyone. And I think you guys kind of remember that. I think it's gonna make a lower low, and then we can start bouncing. And it's gonna be a long-term accumulation phase. The solar sector in general, though, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, you guys are ridiculous. I think at some point you should all open up a fortune-telling booth at the fair and just start charging for some of your analysis. You guys are sensational. We were talking about this one yesterday, and you guys are like, this is a retest gap. Let it pause a little bit. So boom, right? Great volume, nice gap. Let's see if we get a small inside day candle or a retest candle tomorrow, and that will likely be the time to buy on First Solar. Well, we have it. So it is a retest, right? So here's our hourly time frame. We retested it almost perfectly, and that's it. So if we want to have an incredible risk to reward ratio on First Solar, it would look like this. Here's your protective put to avoid a whipsaw of some kind. Here is your intraday trigger, which is 46.83, 46.05 is the protective put. So I think we can put this up here. And then the stop for this trade, or I think we probably know it's gone against us, is probably going to be a little bit lower than that. If you want to close above the high, of yesterday's candle, you could definitely wait for that as well. It's totally your call, but I do think that this is a pretty decent pullback. I mean, per our plan yesterday, this is almost exactly what we wanted. All right, I guess I'll change this. So the stop for me would be a move below 44.04. So there's the stop. And then again, here my plan would be, if we got triggered into here bullish and we hit the protective put, okay, I'm holding a protective put. If we get stopped out, I exit my long position, and this is where I exit my protective put. 41 and some change. So that would kind of be my plan on First Solar. As far as the overall solar sector goes, my opinion is that technology is getting better and better and better with time for solar sectors, for solar energy. So they're creating cells that last longer. They're creating cells that get more energy per square inch. And so the technology is making panels cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and they're making it more sustainable and more readily available for the quote-unquote average consumer. And most people right now who use solar panels are very, very eco-conscious, or they have a little bit of a discretionary income. Those are really the two main people that get solar cells for their homes or whatever. I think if you had a really, really good company that was not necessarily focused on technology, but focused on bringing the solar industry to the consumer in a really good sales, good customer service kind of way, almost like I know it's kind of a bad analogy, but almost like a car dealership, where, when cars were first created, right, only the very, very, very rich had cars. Well, 30 years later, it was a little bit more in the middle class, and then 35 more years later, it was pretty much everyone. So with solar sectors, I think that they are good stocks. I think I'm kind of interested in the company that comes out and innovates the sector as a company. makes it more consumer friendly for the average Joe out there. But right now on First Solar, at least, if we go to a weekly chart, and we just kind of pull it up, and I'm not saying that I can judge the solar sector based on a weekly, but it's not a terrible way to view it. This is a pretty decent little move, right? You got a V bottom of some kind. And this is almost, by the way, this has nothing to do with oil, but this is what I anticipate oil doing. And I think we're right here in the oil, somewhere in this red circle. Now, I think oil will do this more than solar did, but that's kind of what I think about oil is going to do. But anyway, we had a triple top right here on First Solar. We triple top, retest, we failed, and we've retraced quite significantly. I'm bullish on solar coming into the summer months. So here's February-ish time of 2013. Here is your December, February time of 2014. And here's your, November to February 2015. I think we pop. I think we go bullish coming into the summer months. Sales go up, things of that nature. And my overall viewpoint is I like solar. I think solar is going to be very vastly used and is not nearly used enough as it is, or it should be, or as it could be. I think that's because they're still working out the technology. They don't have a company. I mean, the average Joe knows. Like, let's say I'm the average Joe, right? And I want to go buy solar panels. Who do I contact? I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I know there are companies out there, and I have a really good friend, Dory's husband. He does door-to-door sales for solar, and he kills it, right? He destroys it. He does very, very well. But it's one of those things between, it's a smaller company, and it's not a company that's just revolutionizing, again, in my opinion, the sales process for the, again, average consumer. I mean, door-to-door is a great way to do sales. It's just, as far as the industry is concerned, you gotta have that one company that focuses on something other than technology. Because at this point, technology is pretty rampant with solar, and kind of everyone who does solar knows how to do it pretty well. And it is going to continue to get better. But if you have a company that focuses on something other than technology, but focuses on like good marketing, good advertising, and good relationships with the consumers, I think the sector of the solar could do really well. I do think that they're a little tied with oil. But not directly, Maria. I would say that oftentimes, if oil is taking a massive hit, solar won't actually be as valuable as you would think, because solar is going to be used less if oil is cheaper. Solar, and this is when we got a really, really big increase in oil prices and things like that, 2011, 2012. Solar, if oil is really, really cheap, people are going to use oil because it's so much cheaper. And that, again, that's just kind of my thought. That's my opinion, maybe. But coming into the summer months, spring and summer, solar does usually pretty better, usually. And if oil prices flatten out and they kind of chill for a little bit, I think the solar industry will go up a tad. But if oil keeps going down, it's going to affect a lot of markets. Transports will probably keep going up. Energies will be going down. Yeah, so we'll see. That's a very good question. But on First Solar, I know that you've been kind of a fan of First Solar, Maria, as far as stock and covered calls. I think this is a good place to maybe consider start buying low, selling high, and mitigating risk down here in this level. So it'll be very interesting to see. But that's my thoughts. Great question. Let's kind of run through weeklies Wednesday. And guys, especially my recording students out there, there's not a lot of volatility right now, which means there's not a lot of premium. So there weren't tons of things to look at. Tesla was one of them. Tesla is one I'm going to go to pretty much all the time for a spread, weekly spread. 210, 205, 30-cent limit. I would not even look at it unless it closes below the 50 on the daily. Here's the 50 on the daily, which is about 215.01 right now. We got good volume. We're making higher lows. We still haven't made a higher high yet. So I think that we actually are probably going to come up and test this 227 level And my do or die circle is probably going to be right about here, where we break this high and we either do this or we do this. And I think that's going to coincide very, very nicely with earnings. So that'll be really, really interesting to see how that plays out. By the way, type in a 3. Have you guys gotten a chance to go to our Facebook page and watch that Tesla video that we posted about the insane mode? If you get a chance, hop over. It's kind of a cool video. It made me chuckle a little bit, and I think that was good, really, really good PR, really good marketing. I think it was perfect for Tesla. It was like a word of mouth, guerrilla marketing type thing. I think it was just a really good. I think it was solid. I mean, I think it was so good that it might have helped Tesla a little bit as far as sales go. So we'll see. Peg, yeah, if you Google, let's go insane mode Tesla video. This is what happens when you put Tesla in insane mode. Yeah, so this you type that in, you'll pretty much get a pretty solid video. And it's going viral right now. So it's definitely helping. I'm not saying that this is going to help Tesla stock by any means, but it's not going to hurt it. I will say that. It won't be a negative thing for Tesla. Like the cars burning, that was negative. This, won't be that negative. But only time will tell. Let's see what this button does. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so there's Tesla, 210, 215, and here's the hourly chart. And we were looking at this just before the break, wanting this to pop bullish right here, and it looks like it's doing so. So, Karen, if you still have your call, I don't think you got out over earnings, but I would hold on to it. Yeah, that actually hold a little bit. Try to get to 220. I mean, it looks like a good pop off the 10, It doesn't look super bearish to me. If anything, you could place your stop at 216 and you'd break even on your call. So, cool. Okay, there it is. We looked at Google, and honestly, there's just no premium for anywhere I want to get to. I still like the entry. If you did get triggered in, I'm still behind you on that one. Good volume. This is a perfect pivot. Please keep your eyes open for Google. If we gap or move really, really strong and we close above 547.07, I think that thing is gone. Netflix, don't really have a lot to do on Netflix. We came and looked at the 427.50, 425 expiring this week. Karen and most people are already in that, so there was nothing really there for this week at all. Yeah, so I mean that's really about it. Amazon, there was no money in a spread, but this is a swing trade that I have set up, and I love the fact that it has not triggered yet. That makes me really, really, really happy. Really happy, in fact. 368.17 is the entry. Protective put would be about 355.20. Stop would be about 346.01. And I would exit my protective put if we hit 336.83 for my profit. So that's what I'm thinking on Amazon. Looks like a nice little pop, and we have that 315, 310 bull put spread expiring in February. Not really anything going to happen over there, so should be fine. I guess we'll go look at Apple. And Apple, ladies and gentlemen, here's the only two things I had for Apple. So Ron McKee, your 112 is looking good. Judy, your 112, your 116 is looking good. Guy is still in, and you should be. I'm still in. I talked about a 116, 115 bull put spread 5-cent limit, which is okay. That expires this Friday. 5 cents. It's on the low end. It's 1 penny above our low end. So, if you have a good commission structure, it could be worth it. And I think at this point, it's time to go ahead and consider. I do think it's time to consider our longer term spread that we had. We're getting up there. 114, 113, February week 5. Bull put spread 14-cent limit. I would not even look at spread unless we close below 116 on the hourly. I'm sorry, on the daily. Okay, there we go. I'm going to move you down a little bit, Ron. So keep an eye on Apple. I mean, it's getting towards the end of the day, and oh gosh, look at this pennant, guys. Apple could really, really move tomorrow. Could be a great retest gap. If we get this is, in my opinion, a perfect pennant at the all-time high. So give this a few more minutes if you're waiting for specifically the end of the day, or you could just watch it. If it pops above 120.47 while I'm sitting here jabbering, that would be my bullish entry. And truth be told, I think we can move up our protective put, honestly. What, do you guys agree? I think this would be a stop at this point. And the protective put would be at least right here. So that's where we would unravel the spread or consider some unraveling. That's probably where something would be changing. Catherine says ditto. All right, I'm thinking so too. Lita, I do think your covered call is going to expire this Friday. At least I hope it does profitably. We shall see, but I think it does. So there's Apple. Southwest. You guys are requesting a lot of Southwest. Southwest, I can see it. I mean, I do like the fact that I do like the pullback. It's just I'm still hesitating on airlines. I don't know why. I really don't. Maybe some weird hesitation that I have. That is a Morningstar reversal pattern, though, and we are bouncing off of a gap, and we are bouncing off the 50. So I guess I just got to kind of put my emotions aside, right? Here's your hourly chart. Here's the hourly. This is a Morningstar reversal pattern on the daily, and bullish entry would be right above it. So bullish entry on Southwest Airlines based on this Morningstar. You know, here's your trigger, 46.15. If you really want to be fancy, protective put at approximately 44.12. So you're dealing with about $1 risk. That's going to prevent whipsaws a lot. And then your stop will be down here below the Morningstar reversal. And this would be a longer term bullish swing trade. Because, I mean, again, I think it's emotions that are telling me that it needs to go down a little bit farther. Right? Maybe that's emotion. But you have yourself resistance right here. Right? You have a gap action. We traded up, came back down, bounced off the gap, making some higher highs, higher lows. We got a Morningstar, trend is bullish. I mean, looks nice. We'll see if it breaks. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we gap down tomorrow. And if we gap down tomorrow, I'm going to take this trade off the table. Depends on how far we gap down. How about that? Depends on how far we gap down on Southwest. Office Depot, still chilling. You know, it's talking about a buyout. So if you got stopped out on Office Depot, I understand. I didn't really have a good entry for Office Depot at any point today. We were watching it. We were watching the 15-minute. I was just kind of grinding. And I was looking at it earlier. It just didn't have any good risk reward. So we'll keep an eye on Office Depot. Let's go look over at Staples. Staples, this is one that Tommy Monet was also echoing his sentiment on as far as the bearishness. We did get triggered in, or at least I got triggered in as far as my analysis is concerned, bearish on Staples based on the hourly chart. So here's the hourly chart, and I'm mostly basing this off of the gap. We're getting 2 hammer candles with some volume, so it does look like Staples might pop from the daily. Pretty aggressive swing trade. I kind of mentioned that as well, but it's really based on this daily chart, right? You just had this random candle sitting up here that I'm sure some people got in bullish. We got a lot of volume coming in on Staples, and I think tomorrow if we gap up a little bit, we'll probably get sold, and 1569 will kind of be my target on Staples. Let me update my Apple chart. Lita is telling me that she closed her covered call. All right. So Lita, in my opinion, I think if I was in your exact situation, I would probably hold on to my shares a little bit, Let it maybe get up to 122.50 if we really do breakout high, because right now we're triggering bullish kind of at the end of the day. And maybe do a 130, 135 covered call for February week 5. Something like that. And then you could consider, if we do something like this, consider a collar, because it likely we will retest the breakout and then potentially continue in the future. We'll see though. But other than that, looks nice. I'm ready for Apple. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Apple. What you got for me? What you got, baby? Yeah. All right. What other spreads out there? GILD. I looked at GILD. This is pretty aggressive spread. 95.94. Mr. Meat got into a 94.93 this morning. I think it was a better morning trade. I agree. Afternoon, there's a little bit of premium got sucked out, but the morning one was better. More or less, we just came right down to the 200 and bounced. But here's the hourly. The hourly, it does appear that we're getting some candle to come in. I kind of anticipated that these black candles could kind of be a flag because the volume was pretty low on them, and we got some really, really good bullish volume on these two white candles. So I think GILD does continue a little bit higher. There's not tons and tons of premium left in there, but kind of keep an eye out, and we'll see what's going on. UNP, I forget exactly when this bullish intraday trigger was. This is one that my good friend Martin Reyes have been looking at pretty closely. And I like where it's at. I think there's one interesting thing that I want to see. Because there absolutely is some resistance up in here, right? There is some resistance. I think I want to close above this intraday gap. Right about here. 122.77. Stop would go below the wick of this candle. 116.51. Obviously, this would be a little bit longer term of a swing trade. And protective put would go in the gap right here. So this is a distribution phase where, and consider this little move right here. I'll put it to you this way. I don't want a weak close. If this closes, I want like a nice candle. And we could actually put it this way. We could say on this trade, if we close above, wait for retest and bounce the next day. So that way, if we do close above, that kind of keeps an eye on this little hill, this little fire ant hill candle pattern over there, and kind of take it from there, I think. Any questions on UMP? Robert says, thoughts on Home Depot. I think, and Catherine, I'm really sorry, by the way. You asked for Home Depot twice today, too, and I forgot. The fire ant hill? No, it's not really a pattern. I just didn't know what else to call it at the time. So the Home Depot trade, I know Orkin was looking at this one too, and I think Orkin's on vacation right now. But we had an entry here, and we had a protective put here, and that's really where that protective put comes into place, because that prevents a whipsaw in this type of magnitude. Because I was bullish, we did retrace. This was a great place to get pick up some shares potentially longer term. I am bullish on Home Depot. Yesterday's gap was a pretty bullish gap. You can see that we had some nice buying. It gapped up above the high of this candle, retested that breakout, and then continued. So now getting white candle after white candle after white candle. So realistically on Home Depot, wait for a bounce of some kind on the hourly and get in. I mean, it's bullish. Buy the bounce on the hourly, especially if Home Depot opens below the close a little bit. And what I mean by that is, let's say we open right here tomorrow morning. I think that's buyable. I mean, that'd be really opening right at the 10 exponential. I like this little pennant pattern. So if you're in, Catherine, where's your target? I'll put you on the board. Zane said, I've been waiting on a bounce at Home Depot for a month. It hasn't happened yet to my liking. I like it. So Robert Meek is also in. Okay. 114-ish. All right. KZ and Robert Meek are in. KZ target 114-ish. All right. I can deal with that. For those of you who aren't, keep an eye on it. Very, very nice little bullish trend. It traded right down to the 50 exponential and bounced. And our trigger has triggered. So I think I can get that off the table now. And move this protective put up a little bit. And good to go. My target, Catherine, 114.70 based on some fibs. I don't know if you got close to that, but that's just me. Patricia, I don't have any swing trade money that is mine at the moment. I will say I do have a really good friend who's like, hey, you want to trade my account? So, toss around the idea. It's a really small account, 4,000 or so. So I'd be trading options if I had to do it. I'll see. We'll see. Anyway, if it were me, if I was back to my glory days, I would I'd be trading some shares. It's pretty much what's going on. I'm a big share fan. Oh, that's okay, Zane. I appreciate that, man. I'm not a... It's all good, dude. It's fine. I appreciate it, though. Catherine said, exit Tesla call, paid $1 to own, sold to $650. Beautiful. Very nice. I appreciate the offer, though, Zane. Thank you, man. I'll be fine. All right, cool. That's Home Depot. There we go. Some threw in a down parade for GoPro this morning. Probably some high frequency traders trying to buy the low. Futures were up and splat. I'm staying in. All right. So GoPro. Tommy Mine in calls. Target 62. If we pull back to 51, buy low, sell high, says Tommy. So here is this will be a beautiful gap, guys. If we gap, is GoPro announcing in the morning? Is this true? Any verification on that? Let's see if I can hop over here. Earnings Whisper. GPRO. 2:15 after close. Let's come in tomorrow. All right, we'll look at it tomorrow then. But bottom line, I want a nice black candle and I want to gap up above this. That would be beautiful. We'll see how it looks. Baba's not doing too much. Yahoo, pulling in a little bit. Cheryl got into her bull put spread, or protective put, I believe. Apple's breaking some highs right now, so I would be bullish, more bullish than bearish at least. What am I thinking of doing? What am I gonna do next? Anything else you guys want to look at? Let's go look at Monsanto. Who got into this iron condor? This expires this week. Monsanto with a nice iron condor. Ronald McKee says me. Very nice. So that one expires this week. That was a solid 15% ROI. It wasn't bad on the stock not doing anything. So Monsanto, this is kind of an update. Adobe kind of an update. Looks like it's going to be just fine. I don't really see any issues with this February bull put spread. I think that's all of our spreads right now. So far, we're doing pretty well. I have kind of kept a mental checklist, and so I can't really quote unquote specifically verify this. But since real life trading floor has started, we are 27 on 30 for our credit spreads. 2, we had to close for a small loss, which was Netflix, and our one loss was MU today, and we did not lose our full margin. So we would have gotten out of that today, would have unraveled it, and then exited for a loss, probably I would say half of the margin required, which as you guys watched that video that I sent, that's really kind of that's at some point that's your goal. Don't lose your full margin, just lose some of it if it happens. So credit spreads, we've been killing it. 27 for 30, which is mathematically exactly what we were looking for. Cheryl said, so Jeremy, let's say I'm a stranger. What stock can I buy? I want to see if the stock market stuff works. Apple. There you go. I am bullish on Apple. I don't think I've been really holding that one back at all. I've been bullish. Ever since that gap, I've been bullish. But that is funny. You're a stock market stranger, buy Apple. That's exactly what I would say. But that is really funny. Apple or SPY? I would go with either one of those two. Very, very good question though. Is that all the spreads that we have? Because that's all the ones that I remember. Let's go look at Twitter and come up with a plan for Twitter as far as the gap up. So depends on when you got to the trade. You might be in a protective put. This was a 2 to 3 month trade that we talked about bullish back here. And we got triggered in on 12/19. So it really is coming up on 2 months. Or I should say 2 months. Here's my thought on Twitter, which reports tonight. If we gap up to 44.61, be cautious. Very good place to sell. Gap could fade. If we gap up a tad, bullish retest gap. Any gap down will be bought unless it's below 35. That's my plan for Twitter. Long-term moving average on Twitter, we don't have many. Used to not have any at all. A gap up would be okay. If we gap above here, wait for the bounce off of 44.61. I guess I should put that in. If we gap up above 44.61, consider a bounce off of that. Think Amazon. Does that help you guys for Twitter? I wish Linda Boshin was here, but she's not. She's not. She's a big Twitter fan. Karen said, I got the fill on Twitter for 75 cents. Nice, Karen. Good for you. So Karen's in a covered call over earnings, 45, and if she gets exercise, it will be for a profit. So I think she bought low, buy low so high that that whole strategy usually works pretty well. Let's go look at the weekly and see if we're getting some interesting patterns on the weekly as well. You know what we haven't looked at in a while? El Pollo Loco, which I saw one of these today. We hit our target of 26.87 based on this gap, and I will give giant shout outs to Brad Reed. He called this one as well. A little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's exactly what we said on Loco. Played out perfect. El Pollo Loco, I believe, has earnings. That's my Spanish voice, by the way. 2-5 after close. Okay, so tomorrow after close. Apparently when I do a Spanish voice, it's very deep and sounds much better than my normal voice. Bienvenidos al Real Life Trading. Mi nombre es Alejandro. Karen said, if we have time, love to hear your opinion on Visa. Bought in early for the split, but if it pops enough, I'll dump it and buy shares again after the dust settles. Visa. Yesterday was it. Yesterday was the gap. Hold would be my opinion. Expect a retest gap. Expect the retest. Watch for watch the hourly closely. Let's go look at the hourly on Visa. There it is, right there. Retest gap. Boom, boom, shazam. I think at this point, Karen, let's go find you some targets, shall we? I think Visa. I'm more bullish than bearish on Visa. If I had to pick a direction, it does look bullish to me. Can we make it to 294.12? I think so. Visa bullish. I'll put looks bullish. Does that help? Does that help, Karen? Great gap on Tuesday. Long tags. Karen S. Real Life Trading. Visa. Okay. Visa done. Karen said, okay, I was thinking about selling a March 300 call for 3 cents, but probably too soon. Thanks. Yes. I would wait for a little bit. I mean, a March 300, would be horrific because that would be a great target, but you might be able to wait and get a little bit more out of it. AMAT, earnings is coming up. Zane said, it looks like a head and shoulders but bouncing off the neckline. I think it looks good. I agree. It does look very good. Morningstar, I think earnings is coming right around the corner. That might be the only thing that would give us a pause. Put that one on your watch list, Zane, and see what it does on earnings. If it gaps down to here somewhere, say it does this, and you start getting some good candles on the hourly, go bullish. Would look pretty. Good morning, Star. I agree with all your analysis. It looks really nice, man. Okay, so we looked at Twitter. What's gapping for tomorrow, boys and girls? What do we want to go look at? What has earnings? Thank you so much. Tommy, read my mind. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters will be very interesting. Newsom calling for a gap up, which will trap people who went bearish on the daily. Oh, man. Okay, Newsom. That's a call right there. Okay. If it gaps down below 1950, I still agree with that. I think that's a perfect trade. If it gaps above 1950, there we go. I think that is still case in point. Perfect analysis. If Green Mountain Coffee Roasters gaps up tomorrow, people are going to be trapped like you've never seen. Just a guess. But that's what I think. Jill, what's up, Jill? How you doing? Yelp. Let's check out some Yelp. So this one has been an arduously long trade. Buy low, sell high, that type of thing. On earnings, okay, let's put this in here. I think this is kind of, if we gap below 49, if we open below 49, gap and go. If we gap up, let's get above 60 and then it's a retest gap. Newsom calls for a small gap up. Okay. That's my analysis on Yelp for tomorrow. Steven Jackson says ALL, Allstate Corporation. Allstate is going to have to clear this pivot for it to really get interesting for me. Depends on the size of the gap up. If it's small, it's a retest. If we gap down but stay above 69, likely will get bought. BOUGHT. If we gap down below 68, 70, bearish gap and go. Boom. There we go. Oh, Will says Apple dividend is tomorrow. I did not know that. It might drop a few points, Will. 20 cents, 60 cents, 80 cents, maybe $1. But it probably won't be much. If it does drop, it'll probably get bought. Really good question, though. Really, really good question. Will, ladies and gentlemen, earning his first frequent trader point. Calling out the dividend. I dig it, big man. Let's see what happens. This is going to be a longer-term swing trade, boys and girls, so we're just going to see how it plays out. I mean, if it was above that entry after last part of the day, we're going to see how it plays out. If you're in bullish, put your stops in. Let's see what happens. But yeah, it might drop a little bit. Like if it does drop, let's say down to here or something, it looks like we might just form a little bit longer of a pennant. It'll probably still trade sideways and it'll probably still break out. So we'll see. SPY, a little bit of a upper shadow. This is good. I mean, guys, this is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Big candle. I'm telling you, if this happens, boom, boom, we are in for some fun. Okay, good. What else do you think? What you guys are saying? UA. Under Armour. So if Tommy, Monet, and Robert went in bearish, other people went in bearish too. So I'm going to say if it gaps up, likely will trap short sellers. Feel free to check short interest. Nice retest gap. If it gaps down, could be a nice bearish gap and go, but don't love it. I don't love the gap down because the pivots are ugly, right? You have something here, you have something here, you have something here. It kind of looks like GILD. If it gaps down to here, I'll probably just get bought again. I'm guessing, so we're going to see. All right, later, Arthur. Have a good one, brother. So Under Armour, we'll check on that. We'll see how that plays out. YUM. Well, that bear call spread worked out okay. The December week 5, 80.82. Yum looks clean. I like this. Let me look at this on the hourly. Oh, yeah. Yum. Yum is the one to keep your eyes on. Clean right there. If we gap above, that's a wick. Oh. If we gap above 75, very good bullish gap. If we gap down, let's clear 70. Okay, I like the gap up more than the gap down. So there's Yum. KORS, Coors, Michael Kors Holdings. This stock is definitely going to gap. This stock gaps all the time on earnings. Be cautious of this thing. It's kind of a mean stock with gaps. If we gap down, make sure it's below 65 support. I don't love a gap up. You know, if we get a nice little gap right here, 67.86, it might work out okay, but let's kind of watch that one towards the end of the day. ISIS did actually do something. Very, very nice. So we made it to our 59.72. Volume did pick up, which is exactly what we wanted to see. With only 9 minutes left, I say we take our stop, place it at 58.82, lock in some profit. Catherine, Yum, YUM. I like Yum. Jill said ECB will not accept loans backed by Greek debt, thus the dive. Bring it on, baby. Bring that roll back and that bounce. Bring it on. I'm ready. Dun, 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 dun. So ISIS, that was kind of a fun one. That was quick. You know what's funny? It did do this. I mean, it did flash, retest, and then flash. I mean, that was very quick. Boom, boom, boom. It was, wow. And notice how perfectly that 59.72 acted as a support. Stopped right on it, then opened right on it. ISIS, good trade in the afternoon. That's kind of why I like. I mean, that is why I like afternoon trades. It's just it's so much more calm. Nice little R for the day, R and a half, maybe 2, depends on where we enter, where we exit, in like 2 or 3 minutes. You guys do anything else? Anything you want to look at specifically? Dun 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 dun. GILD and the euro. All right, GILD hanging out. I don't really see much on GILD. 95. If we close below 97.70. So we still have time, which is pretty much right about here for tomorrow on GILD. SPLS. There we go. There's the rest after battle and Staples. Maybe that'll continue to roll in a little bit. The EUR was for JG. Oh, gotcha. Cool. Zane says, GT bouncing, maybe for a swing trade. I missed the V bottom, but the trading range is still holding, it seems. All right, let's go look at Goodyear Tire. Goodyear Tire, earnings again kind of semi-approaching. Actually, I think JG is Jill. Zane says, I'm blind to earnings. That's all good, man. I agree. It does look pretty, though. Very, very good support. We're going to come back to this one because if it gaps down to there, very, very clean gap. So let's see what happens on earnings. I think we'll wait. I mean, if you do get in and you want to buy some protection, I know that's not kind of your forte right now, Zane, so I'm just kind of talking to you personally. But yeah, it is definitely a buy low, buy at support. Where's it in this thing? JG says, I'm going to witness protection program. It's all good. It's all good. I like witness protection programs. If you, really quick before we end, if you were in a witness protection program and you had the choice of choosing a fake name, what would your fake name be? I think mine would be Sebastian Smythe. That's Smith with an E. Sebastian. Hello, darling. My name is Sebastian Smythe. That's Smith with an E. I don't know. It's just me. Gildebrett Jenkins. That's a good one. Alexia Newsom. It's not that bad. Not that bad. Warren Sapp. Nice, Grant. Nice. Very nice. I might go with Hamilton Witherton Warrington III. Hamilton Witherton Warrington. That just sounds like I would throw gold everywhere I went. Oh, yes, darling. My name is Hamilton Willington Williamson III. No. Just throwing gold everywhere I go. Or maybe David Barron. That might be one. David Barron. Such a cool name. All right, we have just a few minutes left. Let's just go ahead and I think ISIS probably got trailed out or just pennies away. Watch it. See if we get trailed out at the end of the day. Yep. Okay. So we've got trailed out on ISIS. I think you locked in an R-ish there. So we made an R pretty much on ISIS. R and a tenth. But hey, squeaking out a little bit of profit here and there. That's all right. Exactly. A little over an R. So like an R and a tenth. But that's fine. Good R for the day. As the market had that little Euro crisis thing. Apple did on the 5 definitely got some bearish candles coming into 119, but I'm not really that stressed about it. I mean, we're still above 119. We got a little bit of a candle. We got some good volume. I think most of us got triggered in. If you have a protective put at 115.91, I think that's where our risk mitigation begins. Stop at about 114.61. For those of you who are not in, if you're going to wait for ex dividends, Angie, did you get Will's frequent trader point for that one? I think that's definitely good info.
I did.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I did.
I probably should have looked at that earlier. I would have probably.
He's only here like 2 days, and he's already earning the frequent trader points.
I'm telling you, Will, you're ready to shine, dude. Now, granted, no one knows what frequent trader points do yet, but they're cool. Okay, you guys want these things. They're gonna be like the rewards program at Southwest. All right. So anyway, tomorrow, I actually do kind of expect now a little bit of a black candle, maybe a doji, kind of complete this pennant, maybe like 2 or 3 more days of a pennant, and then let's see if we close with 120.67. But regardless, I'm so bullish on Apple. I don't think the ex dividend is going to change anything. I think if anything, more people are probably going to buy it because of the dividend or did buy it. Yeah, I think that's probably exactly what we do. Trade a little bit sideways and do the thing. Amazon, if we come over to Amazon, I'm liking this even more now. The fact that we did not trigger. If this thing trades sideways into here for another day or two, I'll be really, really happy about that. Zane, how long was the time frame though, Zane? I think the over-under was like 3 days. I mean, yeah, you got time, dude. You got time. Lisa said it's supposed to go down the amount of the dividend. All right. We shall see. Tomorrow will be fun. So, a few cents here and there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good afternoon. I think we had a good time. Day trades were kind of meh, but if we squeaked out an R, if you got a chance to take ISIS, Yoav, and a few others, I mean, that's, an R day keeps the bill collector at bay. So we'll keep locking the R's, mitigating our risk, trading our plan. We'll keep an eye on those spreads tomorrow and Friday, of course, and kind of go from there. Cheryl said half an R, but a win is a win. Yeah. Lock in the profits. Half an R. I mean, break zero. I think at some point this week, I am going to initiate Willpower Wednesday as well. Willpower Wednesday is where we go a day without taking any trade at all. I think I'm going to make it next Wednesday. It's good. If you have never tried it, I promise you, you'll feel an enlightenment to just sit there in front of your computer and just not make one trade at all. It's a good feeling. I think we might do that next week. Make sure to come back for tomorrow. During the third hour, we will have the Guess That Ticker. Guess That Ticker contest. Reigning champion John Higgins will be throwing away some frequent trader points of whoever wins that. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. I will see you guys later. And until tomorrow, love life, live life, and trade it.